When you are an author, you have influence, whether you know it in real time or not. If your book is out there in the world, you're influencing people and you don't even know it. And you're also hoping that people will take some inspired action in their life, right? You're hoping to have a positive influence on it. I want to just let you know that there are other people out there, the younger version of yourself sometimes, that just needs to hear your message. I wake up dizzy. The room is spinning. I feel like I'm in the drum of a washing machine. I roll my eyes and roll out of bed. Thank you. And I think, not again. This is the 5th straight day that I've woken up like this, okay? Thankfully, I had my roommate nearby, and he was an emergency room pediatrician, and I hold his forearm as we walk through the neighborhood streets of Brooklyn so that he can get me to a clinic to get help. And I'm sitting there in the doctor's office, and he tells me that I have vertigo. And I'm reeling as I'm getting this information, because vertigo, by the way, is a real thing. And I'm just thinking, how did it get to this? So I wore a lot of hats growing up. That's me in the black hat with my best friend, Patrice. We had a lot of pretend games going on. We had a lot of different hobbies, from dancing to drawing to, and of course, writing. Been writing my whole life as soon as I could move a pen. And after college, I moved to New York City, and I started a blog about being a multi-passionate person that takes on a lot of projects. And then I started another blog called Dual-Alley-T. Get it? Dual-Alley-T, multifunctional design it was about. And then I started another blog called Success in the City, that was based on making it in the Big Apple, okay? I was all over the place, okay? I had a ton of different passions and interests and a lot of different readers for these blogs, and guess what? I wasn't really making that much traction with them. And eventually, I hit a wall, y'all. I was dizzy for 2 straight weeks. And I stopped posting. I actually kind of crawled into a hole and died a little bit inside. And here's the thing. I wasn't clear and confident about really who I was serving and what I was up to. And I'm just wondering, can anybody relate? Has anybody made themselves sick? I know Aaron has. From being stressed out because you're just doing so many things. Being everywhere. Everything, everywhere, all at once. That was a great movie, but a bad move to make in real life, right? Yeah. Stephanie, I see you. Yep. Lots of you can relate. And really what I needed was a framework. I needed a structure to clarify what it was that I was up to in the world and who I was. And so my integrity statement is I create space for self-expression to take place, and I do that on the page and on the stage. And so once you get this for yourself, everything shifts, y'all. And I'm super excited to teach you a few lessons today about building your author brand, okay? Now, we already did some 4 Ps. Chandler gave you some 4 Ps for the book. I'm gonna give you 4 Ps for building your author brand, and guess what? One of them is the same. So you've already learned it. We're also going to talk about how to author content, plus what to post and where online. And then we're going to meet some authors. Maybe some of you will recognize a few of them, of people taking these structures and using them in real life. Now, we're embracing the influencer world we're living in, y'all, okay? And I'm going to try to change your mind about what an influencer is, if you're starting to have an idea of what that is. So what do you think of when you hear the word influencer? Personally, for me, I think of a selfie stick. I remember the first time I saw a selfie stick, I was hiking outside of New York. You can just take a train north of the city for 45 minutes and you can hike around there. And it's like the Hamptons for hiking, if any of you are New Yorkers. And I was in this beautiful spot and I look up and I see somebody with a selfie stick taking it. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this person like a social media person? At the time, I didn't know the word influencer. Well, I got to drop a truth on y'all. Okay. You are an influencer. When you are an author, you have influence, whether you know it in real time or not. If your book is out there in the world, you're influencing people and you don't even know it. Hopefully you have people that buy your book that you don't know, right? And you're also hoping that people will take some inspired action in their life, right? You're hoping to have a positive influence on it. Julie says, please convince me. Okay, Julie, stay with me. I want to hear it at the end if you're convinced. But I want to flip the script here and let you know that influence, it's trust at scale. Content is serving, and when you share your ideas and values and your lessons, then that is what it's about. That's how you do it at scale when you're building your author brand. Just don't drive under the influence. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay. You got your pens ready? Everyone ready? Take a little screenshot there? Okay, great. So first off, let's define what a brand is. It's a unique combination of skills, experiences, and personality that an individual or a company may present to the world, okay? And it consists of these 4 Ps. The people you serve, that's the one that's the same from the 4 Ps of your book. Your pitch, your persona, and your platform, okay? And we're gonna go through each one of these, all right? So the people you serve, what you say is your pitch, your persona is your role and your style, and then your platform is where you live online. Okay, yeah, Carol, I wanna hear some dad jokes. You wanna light me up here, give me some dad jokes in the chat. Okay, your people. These are the people that you are writing your book to, a love letter for your person, okay? Now, we talked about getting specific, right? Niches, riches in the niches, as Chandler said. This is exactly one person. I want you to just try this out. When you think of that one person that you've helped mentor, that you've helped along their path, then that becomes a really powerful thing. People feel like you're in their head when you do this. I swear to God, even if it's not someone that fits that demographic, okay? So I want you to think and just start to jot down some notes about that one person if you have them in mind. Let me know when you have it in the chat if you have this person in mind that you really want to write your current or future book to. Mary's got it. Stephanie's got it. Andrea, Sonia, awesome. Y'all are quick. So when you think of this person, I want you to think about their fears and their desires, okay? And I'm gonna give you an example. Owen mentioned that I have a pun and poetry event. And when I was practicing this same lesson right here, I was getting super specific about who I wanted at this event. And I thought of this woman, Ashley, who I took an improv class with. And she started coming to my events. And I speculated a little bit. I know a little bit about Ashley, but I filled in the blanks a little bit. And you can do the same thing, is just speculate a little bit if you don't know exactly. But she's 33 years old. She works for the city of Austin. She enrolled in an improv class. Some of her fears and desires here are fears being invisible, and seen for who she truly is, which is an offbeat travel nerd and a musical theater kid. And she desires having more fun, to be authentic, impactful, creative, and she wants to do this around community that she can feel safe being herself with. Okay? Yeah, okay, so we have some people here in the chat. Elizabeth says women who cannot get well. Okay, someone over 60 is feeling invisible. And again, I love this one from Donna, homeschooler mom. Hey, Donna, good to see ya. Sarah, who has 3 kids, one with a learning challenge and has only been homeschooling for a short time. I love how specific that is, right? Get super specific. and you will get the feedback that you're like, how did you know? How did you know what I was thinking and I was feeling? It's incredible. It is incredible. I did this for my book too, and I got it. I have gotten this from people before, and it's really amazing when you get that feedback. Okay. Let's move on to the second P, which is your pitch. Okay. So I got to tell on y'all a little bit. I run these group coaching calls 5 times a week, and y'all be coming in my rooms, and I say, okay, we always start it the same way. We say, what are your wins? What's your book about? And what can we support you with? And some of y'all be coming in my rooms and be saying, oh, my book is about this entire journey where I went through birth, and then I went through preschool, and I got ordered from smartest to dumbest, and I was on the dumbest side, and then this, and then this, and then this, and I'm like, oh my God, save some for the audience, right? Okay, so we're gonna get clear and confident about what your pitch is, okay? So you can use this when you're out networking, but you can also use it for your book, okay? This is not brain surgery. I didn't make this up. You've seen this before. I help X solve Y through Z. X is the type of person, Y is the problem, Z is the unique pathway that you do that through, okay? So I'm gonna show you an example of how you can do this with your book too. So for me, I help aspiring nonfiction authors become Amazon bestsellers by self-publishing, okay? You can play around with the verbs there. I help and solve. You can play with those. My book, Word Awakening, helps stuck writers break through writer's block through emotion tracking. It's okay if they don't know what the Z is. That deserves some follow-up questions, right? And then you're talking. Then you're like talking about your pathway, your unique thing that you've got going on, okay? Cool. So a pro tip, you may have a few of these, y'all, because you may have, like me, you may have a few things going on in your life. So a little pro tip, when you're out at a networking event and everyone's kind of telling what they do and everyone's sharing in a small group or something, be the last one to speak. And if you're the last one to speak, then you can kind of cater that pitch to who is listening. Okay, so that's my pro tip. For those of you at networking events, be the last one to speak. Okay. Next up, we've got your persona, okay? This one's really fun. I want you to have some fun with this one. So what is your role to your reader and your audience, okay? Are you a savvy older sister? Are you a tough love truth teller? Okay, kind of think about what that style is, and this is going to impact how you communicate with your audience, both verbally and non-verbally, through the language that you're using to communicate with them, right? So you can also say, okay, well, it's kind of like if Beyonce and, I don't know, Chandler had a baby. That would be fun, right? Beyonce and Chandler had a baby. There's probably a pun there, right? Beyonce, Chance. I like Chance. Okay, let's give that one a chance. All right, so I'm going to give you an example of this to just kind of digest this so you can see this in real life before we move on to the fourth P, okay? So we're going to take Nike. Nike had this whole campaign around women that were pushing the boundaries in sports, okay? So this is Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in US history. And of course it has their tagline, just do it, do things history could only dream of, okay? So their first P, people, they're athletes and fitness enthusiasts here, right? Their pitch, we help athletes push their limits and achieve greatness by providing innovative high performance gear, okay? And their persona is a world-class coach. So sometimes the message is go out there and do it, right? Their tagline, just do it. But also, they have a really inspirational voice and like doing it when it's inconvenience and pushing yourself to the limits, right? So that is kind of their who they are to their viewers and their readers. Okay. And then their platform, they're all over the place. They even have their own platform, which is kind of an owned platform that you can create as well through Nike Plus and their ecosystem there, okay? So is this resonating? Are you still with me? Give me a little wave. Give me some spirit fingers if you're into that. Cool. All right. Great. Ooh, got a little audience, a little clapping in the studio too. I love it. Thank you. Okay. So last P, your platform. I know this is the one you're dreading, y'all. Okay. I know. Okay. Says no one ever. I'm a Facebook person. I love Facebook. Okay. I never hear that. Okay. But it's kind of a necessary, right? And I want to show you just how impactful and just how much you're missing out on if you are not, posting online and not putting yourself out there, okay? I just want you to pick one. Just pick one to start, and then you can add a second one. If you're on 2 right now and you're kind of checked out of them, I want you to take this opportunity this week to get re-engaged, okay? So here's just a chart showing just the global monthly viewers. I just want you to wrap your brain around this statistic. This is showing you average monthly viewers in the billions, y'all. Facebook, still number 1, followed very closely by YouTube, okay? And then WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok. And some of these you might not have even heard of, but that's what I'm saying. This is just, you are leaving money on the table if you are not on these platforms, okay? You can go ahead and take a screenshot of this next slide if you want here. I don't expect you to read this, but if you still are deciding to get back onto a social media platform, this just gives you a basic idea of kind of what's happening and where and what industry as well, okay? So what is the minimum that you can do to start building your author brand this week, okay? All right. So now that we have those 4 Ps, okay, now we are going to talk about what the Frankfurter do you post now, okay? Well, I'm going to give you a really easy framework to think about this. Let's just say you block off 3 times a week to getting your social media back going. What do you post on there? Well, I will tell you exactly what to post. Okay, oops. Oh man, there we go. Okay, hold on. This is the slide we want. I'm not the best with tech, y'all, and I was back there trying to make this thing animate, but we got there, y'all. Okay, so the first one is always be documenting. So this is something that I originally learned from Chandler, and I was just having a chat with Owen in the green room, and he totally was totally repeated this. So I'm so validated in this one, y'all. This first one is my favorite because it's literally just opening the camera up when you're going about your day. Okay, so maybe you are walking the dog, or maybe you have a client call that's super interesting, and you're just documenting your day to day. And what Owen was talking about was that the trend right now is that people just want to see the authentic you in your day to day versus high production quality, okay? So with the high tech and the HD and all of that, this is great. And I'm sure you appreciate the quality and the extra time and energy and that technology is allowing us for this particular event. But what people are really desiring is just to see you in your natural habitat, okay? So that's that one. That's my favorite one. The next one is understand what resonates with your followers, okay? So when Chandler was talking about the things that your customers come to, those problems and the challenges that they're coming to you with, that's what this is. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of all of these, so hold tight. But these are the things that they're fearing, that they're coming to you, that they're not confident on. These are the things that you're speaking to when it comes to you and understanding, okay? The next one is teach and entertain. So we are just going to essentially, I like to tell a funny story of what happened in my life and then what I learned from it. Or maybe you're sharing the things that don't feel so good, the bump in the road, and you've had some time to process, and then you can share about that. People love hearing about when things don't go right, right? H is the hot take. Okay, so this means a hot take is a polarizing view that you're sharing, that the people that will resonate with your message will be more drawn to you, and the people that aren't really for you are actually going to you step back or maybe be like, oh no, maybe I'm not that into it. At the very end of the day, you can get a conversation going with hot takes. So a hot take is great for engagement and getting people to start talking and having a dialogue. Okay. Last one here, offer more than you ask for. So I want you to think about, for every 3 posts that I make, that's when I can make an ask of people, okay? Everything else is in generosity, and you're giving away more than you are asking for. And if you show up with generosity, you will be so surprised how people show up for you when you are on your launch, and you are, asking for those reviews. If you spend time, I would love this phrase. I think it was by a 19th century socialite. So like a Paris Hilton, if you guys know who that is from like the 19th century. I think it was Emma that this movie was based on. Emma, you guys know that? She said, make friends before you need them. Make friends before you need them. So if you are out there introducing people to each other that need to know each other, if you're out there giving your all and just being super generous with what you have to offer, people will show up for you 3x. It will always come back to you in abundance. Okay. I know that was a lot, but we're going to show some examples now of people actually putting this in action. All right. Oh, wait, there's one more. Author. There's an R. I forgot. It's not author, it's author. Okay. This one is super important though. I'm glad we didn't skip it. This one is to respond and engage, and not just to your own comments, but go in there to other people in your network, people that you want to be friends with, that you'd like to speak on stage next to, and start engaging in their comments, adding value to their communities. Okay. So when you make time to post and post content, you also need to make some time to respond to other people's feeds and share your wisdom in the comments and in the different communities of the platform that you pick, okay? This goes a really long way. You can make a ton of friends by doing this online, okay? Okay, I saw Ian yawning here. We really, I gotta pick up the pace here, I feel like, or I gotta do some gotta tell some dad jokes there so that Ian stays awake. I saw you. All right, so a month ago or so, I had the privilege to speak in front of an audience of creators at KIT's Craft and Commerce Conference. And I learned a lot from this guy. His name is Chris Donnelly. He's a UK-based entrepreneur. He grew 2 million followers across LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram, and YouTube, all of those combined, within the space of a year. Okay, so one of the things that he was doing really well is he was teaching and entertaining. So he helps coaches build 10K a month coaching businesses. And he builds these really beautiful infographics that are showing a complex pathway or timeline in a really interesting visual way. And he gives these guides out on his website in order to capture emails, right? So it's a really, really generous offer in exchange for your email address so we can continue to have a relationship with him, okay? So this is value-packed content. This is the kind of stuff that he gives away, cheat sheets and infographics, okay? And then he's got some social proof on there, and that's from his website. So the one on the right is from his Instagram, one on the left is from his website. Okay, so I gotta tell you a quick story. I was doing a clarity call with a new author. This is a couple months ago. I'm gonna change her name. Let's just say her name is Sarah, because I wanna keep it confidential what we shared in that call. But Sarah showed up, and she was telling me about how she had a son who had a traumatic brain injury, a really rare one. And that it completely changed her and her family's life. And she was thinking, God, he might not ever be able to get a job. We will just never really have quite of a normal life. He was born regular baby, grew up to around 12 years old, and then he got this traumatic brain injury. And there really wasn't a lot of information or support for other parents of traumatic brain injuries. And so she started one. She started a nonprofit for families of children with traumatic brain injuries. And she started mentoring mothers that were going through some of these same issues. One of those issues was that sometimes her son it was part of the brain that was damaged where it allowed you to have a little bit of, let's just say, the that barrier where you don't say everything that comes into your brain, right? So he lost that, and he would be yelling out very uncouth sayings to his nurses and the healthcare providers, sometimes be cursing and yelling things out, and she'd be so embarrassed, right? But at the end of the day, she had to kind of laugh about it, and she's like, can I even write these things in the book? And we were kind of laughing about it a little bit, and like, just, you can't make this stuff up. It's like, it's even stranger than fiction, you know, some of the things that he would yell out loud. But at the end of the day, it was such a hard thing to go through, and she was doing it with so much humor and humility and grace. And she asked me in the call, is anyone going to want to read this book? Would you read this book? Just say in the chat if you would read this book. I'm just so curious if this is a journey that you would want to be on with. Yes, thank you, Lori. Okay, yes. Okay, seeing a lot of yeses in the chat there. And I was thrown a little bit because I get this question a lot in these calls, but I was just so taken aback because her particular story and the point of view that she had around, we were just like laughing about some of these things that her son would say. And I was just so touched. I was like, really? I was like, think about that woman that you've mentored before. Like, think about her times a million, right? Like, that just to me was so interesting that this woman who had such a powerful, powerful story would come to me with that question. And so just know, if you ever had this question in your mind, I want to just let you know that there are other people out there, the younger version of yourself sometimes, that just needs to hear your message, okay? So after that call, I just went out there. I was at the selfpublishing.com office, and I just was like, I have to share this because it just touched me so much that someone with that impactful of a story had this thought in her head, right? So that is just an example of that. You is understanding what resonates with your followers. Okay? Take inspired action when you feel compelled in the moment and document it. All right. So now we're really going to do a deep dive into some of these authors that are putting this framework into action. I advise you, if this is one of your platforms that you're choosing, go follow them on that platform and study them, okay? Because I have been studying them over the course of these last few months, and let me tell you, I'm just super impressed by how they're showing up. Okay. So this is Chris Bates. Shout out to Chris Bates. He's local to Austin, so I get to hang out with him in person in the offices sometime, which is super cool. He is a men's dating coach. Bates Dates on IG. And he is following the A, O, and R, okay? So he's always documenting the milestones on his journey. He's got a highlight reel on his Instagram that is just for the book. It just shows book. As you can see in the picture on the right, it's really small. But if you click on that highlight on his Instagram, it shows him from coming up with the idea, and then he's typing on the computer and finishing the draft. And then now he's in formatting. Now he's showing us the covers, right? So every step of the way, he's documenting that journey. And it's so smart because you get people really invested, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I'm giving feedback on the cover. And now that can actually shape the process. That can shape the outcome of the book, right? And so people are really invested in the journey and have joined his launch team. And this is low production value, guys. This is him receiving his proof copy in his kitchen. You know, it's him outside walking. It doesn't hurt that he's a very attractive guy with a shirt off, you know, whatever. If you're into that sort of thing, that's nice too. But it's really the content we're there for, right? So anyway, what is the result of this? He has over 450 people on his launch team from doing this, okay? Because he's built it over time. He's not yet launched, y'all. You can still join his launch team, okay? But he's still building it, okay? So that's the power also of starting early and posting often. Okay, cool. Good with Chris. We're going to move on to Scott Allen, one of our favorites. He's our team. Just raise your hand if you have Scott as a coach. Awesome. We see a few hands. You guys are lucky ducks. Yep. Scott is brilliant at marketing. He's had multiple best-selling books. And what's interesting about Scott's Instagram feed is he does not show his face often. Okay. So for those of you that don't love getting on camera, that this is kind of like you showed face maybe for today's event, and I thank you for it, but you'd rather be a camera off kind of person, I see you. You can just open to the book, okay, and read a highlighted piece of content. This is the understanding your author's needs, and you can just read the passage, okay? That is a super great tip, and it's so low lift. Anyone can literally do this, okay? He also carries his books around, and when he's in a beautiful place in Japan, he can just put the books up there, have a little impromptu photo shoot, get a picture with somebody at a cafe, maybe. That you can steal that too. So keep your books on you so you can just document it and get them in the wild, okay? Great. So that's Scott. All right, we're moving on to Mr. Chandler Bolt. Okay, so fun fact, Chandler only has a LinkedIn and Facebook. Okay, those are his two platforms that he's on. And I love reading his LinkedIn posts because they're so real, they're so authentic. And he's a great one. Of course, he teaches and entertains. And I know that the text is small there, but the one on the, the one on the left is a hot take on commuting in modern day. Okay, and the one on the right is really teaching what it takes to go pro at something. Okay, so you can use this kind of on LinkedIn if you guys are LinkedIn people and your audience is business and professionals. You want to use the one-line line break to get them to read more and tempt them to watch to the end. Okay, so he says, sorry for the rant. It gets pretty spicy in the end. Well, of course we're going to watch the end of that video, right? Cool. Okay. We're getting to the end here. This is Ashley Dudek. Shout out if you know Ashley. She's one of our teaching assistants. She runs the Thursday writing rooms. Okay, yay! Yay, Marilyn is saying, go Ashley, cool. Got some smiles in the group. Oh my gosh, this woman's, her energy is so infectious, y'all. And she went to a training that Brittany did. I just miss Brittany so much. For those of you that had Brittany as a coach, we love her. And one of our team members did a training on social media, and Ashley attended, took some notes, and one of the platforms that was mentioned on that training was Substack. So Ashley was like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and like start to mess around with it. Well, y'all, she doubled her email subscribers by using Substack, and she's building her launch team. She's still in editing right now, but she's building that launch team and engaging and creating a community on Substack. So that is one of the platforms that you can use. A lot of people use it to communicate as through email. So if you don't have an email platform, you can use it to email and have a newsletter through it. And it also has a monetization option. So you can have people upgrade for more content from you as well. So I love to use her as an example for the O, for offering more than you ask for. Because when she was sharing in my group coaching call about how much value she's gotten from Substack, she's like, well, I was like, well, would you want to just do a training for us? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. She even made a PDF of all the talking points as a free giveaway for everybody that attended. And I would just like have to shout her out because that was so generous of her. Now, of course, we shared her Substack link, but there was no hard call to action. There was no like, sign up now, right? Like there was none of that in this training. She was just so generous for sharing her wisdom with us. And hey, if you have something that you'd like to teach our people and you want to, dedicate your time, like reach out to me. We'll see if we can get you on the schedule and stuff too, so that you can also share your learnings with our team as well. And if you want a recording of that, you can find it in the mastermind group. So just search Ashley's name or Substack. It'll come up for you along with that free gift. So I just want to give a shout out to Ashley for that as well. Okay. So I am wanting you to, we're going to be coming up to a break here soon. And I want you to be thinking about those 4 Ps. Okay. This leads for the foundation. If you get those 4 Ps down, then everything else that you're posting will come a lot easier, okay? So take inspired action and keep that bright light burning strong so you're not burning out, okay? Thank you so much.